Welcome to In Between Homes. Today we are hosting Adeline. Adeline, how are you? I'm so excited to have you here today with me.
Thank you. I am so excited too. I'm really, really happy about this opportunity, this conversation with you, and I'm feeling very well. I hope you too.
Yeah, very well, thank you. Tell us, where is home for you?
Oh, that's a good question, But actually, I would say, I'm living in Germany now for a while. I moved to Germany officially 10, no, more than that. Yeah, almost 15 years ago. And I would say Germany became my home because now I notice every time I go to my parents' house, for example, to France, I notice when I come back, I really feel home. I have this feeling of I am home. And I think it's because here I have my own family, I have my friends. Now a lot of my friends are here. Of course, I still have friends there in my hometown, I mean in France, but I don't know. When you are living abroad, you are getting new perspectives on life, on the world, and you are growing. And I think home is where you feel like you are yourself. Like I'm feeling I am me. And of course, I still have a special connection to my parents' house, and I still have family there. So I still have this special bonding to my past place. But and no, the real feeling home is here now. And I don't know, you know this experience to live abroad, and I don't know how you feel the first time you came home after being abroad. For me, it was the experience. I was 16, and I lived 3 months in Germany as I was at school, and as I came back to my parents, it was a very, very, very strange feeling. Like, where am I now? Because I had so much experiences, strong experiences, positive experiences, and I changed, I grew. So of course, I think home is the place you grow. It's a place you feel me, like yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I can relate to that. The first time was a long time ago, and I was probably, I think, around 18 years old. And I went to Hungary for 2 months as a special internship. And the first time was like, oh wow, yeah, you can see you change, you evolve,
Yes.
and all of that. And I think international expatriation and experiences really bring opening of mind, opening of different way of living, I guess. So if
Yes.
we look back where you were 10 years ago, how was this whole journey of transformation for you? Who was Adeline 10 years ago?
What a good question. Uh, 10 years ago, I was working on my PhD, and I was already living in Berlin. Um, I officially really moved to Germany. It was 2011 to begin my PhD. And so I was living in Berlin. It was a city I always wanted to live in. I don't know really why. Yes, I know. I had this attraction. I don't know. It's a cosmopolitan city, really free city with a very interesting history. So all that attracted me. So I always wanted to go there. So I was really happy in Berlin. And yeah, working on my PhD. And 1 year later, I finished the PhD, and then I became my first child. Then I take a break because, in Germany, that's the thing I love with living abroad. You can take new perspectives. Of course, you take all the best of course, there are still things I think in France that are better, and other things I think they are better here. But one thing I really love here is that as a parent, you can take the time to have a break for your child without having negative thoughts or with bad consciousness. Can we say that in English? Yes. So I took a break for 1 year, and then I started working as a researcher, so for projects. So I was working in the sociology field, and but I already knew that the scientist career is not for me. Like I really loved researching, like being in contact with people, because I made a lot of quality studies, like making interviews with parents, and so really this sociologic approach of research. So I really loved that, but I knew it's a instable way. Like you have to go from project to project. So that means you are working for 2 years on something, and then you have to find something else. And I knew it's not what I want. And I didn't want to go to the university and work as a professor. It was always clear for me that it's not my way. And as my child came to birth, we began with multilingual education, because we have 3 languages in our family. So I bring French, of course, and we are living in Germany. And my husband has 2 languages, German and Turkish. So his parents are aware Turkish. He only has his mother now. But he grew up in a bilingual environment, and he wanted, of course, to keep the Turkish language. So we started the trilingual education, and everything was fine at the beginning. And then after 2 years, we noticed, okay, it's not so easy as we thought. It's not enough to just speak a language with a child so that he really wants to learn it. It needs more. And we were facing the fact that our child with 2.5 was only speaking German. He was understanding Turkish and French, of course, but he didn't want to speak our languages anymore. And of course, it was for both of us really frustrating, and like we were really sad, because it was very important for us. I mean, giving a language is not just giving a language; it's giving an identity. It's giving a bounding to the own family, to the own past, the own culture, all of that. So I started to really, really emerge in this field, because, of course, with my study, I had a connection to languages always, but I didn't have this really focus on the topic multilingual growing up. Yeah. So I started really, really to research on that, and it became a real love. So and then I developed a method, and we changed it. We changed the perspective of our child on his languages, and then he started again to speak our languages. So and then I noticed, okay, a lot of people who are in the same situation, like giving 2 or 3 or more languages, are facing this problem.
Yeah.
And and that's how started my business, actually. Like I thought, okay, I have to do something with that. It was clear for me, it's a hard mission. It's something I want to give to the world, to share with the world, because, I think every child and every language deserves to, every language and every child matters. So I really wanted to give the parents a chance to give the languages to their children. So that was the start of my business. And then, I started slowly, and I don't know, should we talk about that now, or should I continue, or?
No, yeah, I found like amazing the fact that you were, doing research, and then you were like, this is not my calling. Like, yes, I'm super interested into that, but it's not the way I want to really live my life. And you prioritize your child in an environment where it was totally fine to take 1 year off to just focus on your baby and all of that. And then by observing how your relationship with your child, and how this kid like was not able to speak your both languages, the native language, where it's like, oh my god, it's hurting us. How we can, how I can utilize actually my skills to kind of figure out to help him and all of that. So how did you feel when your child finally speak both of your native language?
It was amazing. It was an amazing feeling. Like, okay, it works, and it's everything is possible now. And yeah, it was a really, really good feeling, because we were really frustrated and didn't know how to get out of this situation. And of course, we didn't want to put some pressure on him. It was really important for us to find a way. He wants himself. He wants himself. And I mean, of course, he was young. He was 2.5, so he doesn't have this consciousness of a lot of things. But for me, it was clear it has to come from him. So I have to create the conditions so that he speaks and he loves and he can have a connection to our languages. So yeah, that's the base of my method, actually.
Yeah, it's amazing how you also, it's not an expectation from you as a parent, like I want you to speak my language, like in a way, yes, a little bit, but then it has to come from a willingness from the child to be willing to learn. So I
Yes.
love the fact that you are changing that, because what we can see a lot in families, and it's like, oh yeah, my mom wanted me to be a dancer, so I took dancing class, and I don't like, I hate that, for example.
Yes.
And then it could happen the same with the languages, where you find a way. So do you want to tell us a little bit more about that method, about how you guide people, to the parents, to support them in this mission?
Yes, of course. I always begin with getting clarity about the aims, because we all have different aims. And for some parents, it's enough to if the child is understanding them when they're speaking the language. So like they don't have this expectation of my child has to speak the language. And other parents have the expectation the child has to speak, to write, to read the language. So that is a very, very different aims. So we always started from the aims, and then we look at the environment of the child, language environment. So how does they have contact to the different languages, and how can we make it better, like to improve the whole condition, the whole environment. And we start with a strategy, of course, like what should be the strategy you communicate with your child in the family, because a lot of people think like we before there is one way, only one way. It's every parent speaks the home language with the child, and that's it. But the problem is it's not enough in the most of the cases, because in most of the cases the environment language, like for us it's German, is becoming very, very dominating. So if, for example, we were speaking German, my husband and me, we were speaking German together. So the German language was very present at home too. And of course, the child at one point thinks, okay, why should I speak the other languages? I don't need them. So the main part of my message is to get every language relevant, significant for the child. And you can create that with quality time, like with creating special rituals, special situation at home, really create a connection to the language. So that the child has the feeling he wants to speak it, he likes to speak it, he has the confidence to speak it, it's another thing, and he has the skills to speak it. That are 3 dimensions, the significance, the confidence, and the skills. So we work on these 3 things together, and and then we make it work. And I mean, of course, it's a long time thing, but the most important part is at the beginning, because if you are creating this bonding in the first years of life of your child, then it's much more easier to keep going. And you have to know, okay, what we are doing here, it's the right way, we are doing well, we have the confidence, the child feels the confidence. So so that it's for the whole family something nice, something they enjoy in life. And this is a condition so that it works in long-term perspective, so that the child, when he's an adult, he can speak the languages.
And I guess it's beyond just speaking another language. It's really like this quality time in family. It's like for each parent to spend the time with the kids, like to actually bond into their probably culture and all of that, to
Yes.
understand at a deeper level what is language about, because what I love about living abroad and being international is you are in a different environment that speak a different language, but also it's all behind, like there's way more than the language, is how people interact, how even the language is set and all of this, and then it's an open up of a new world of possibilities. So I guess it also creates in the kids very young age also an ability to think differently, I guess.
Of course, yes. You know, we say there is a very known how do I say?
Same.
Is to see a language is a perspective on life. So if with every new language you open your horizon on life, on world. Yeah. So and there are studies, of course, that are showing little children who are growing up with 2 or more languages, they are more in the ability when they are older to be tolerant, to have another relation to otherness, like to be different, you know, like they are more tolerant, they are more open to the world. So yeah, it's something I think really important. For some people, it's the most strong reason to give a language. I think it shouldn't, because I think it's not enough. You really have to have the language in your heart to give it to your child, because otherwise you will do it 1 year, 2 years, and then you will let it. I know it. I know a lot of experiences from parents in this situation. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a long term. Like it's not
Yes.
something okay you do for 2 days and then it's fixed and go. It's a practice, I guess. It's a habit. It's developing a new way
Yes.
of kind of living and being together in a multicultural environment. So
Yeah.
thank you for so many tips today about that. And
Welcome.
so from being, I would say, a researcher, you became an entrepreneur. Can you give us a little bit of insight? How was the journey for you so far? How many years you have been in now, and what has been the the up and downs, I would say, of the journey?
Yeah. Yeah, of course, there is a lot of downs and some ups, of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't sit here now. But yeah, it was a hard journey because, of course, I was coming from research field, from human sciences, and I have no ideas of marketing, online business. I didn't like to deal with numbers, but I had this really strong conviction. It's my way. It's my mission on this world. And I was ready to make everything I need for that. So I was really, really open to learn how does it work. But I knew it takes time. And of course, I noticed it takes more time than I thought at the beginning, because it's a long process. You start from something, you start from zero, and then you have to develop something and then analyze and optimize and develop again. And, and you are growing in the work with the parents or with your clients. So you are constantly developing yourself, growing, developing concepts and so on. So I think that's a journey that never stops. But yeah, there were a lot of downs, like to have the feeling I cannot move forward, and I need, some points I thought, okay, I need help now. I need a coach. So I took a coach in 2021. Yes, 2021. Even for this online marketing thing, because I learned a lot of things, but I didn't know what should I do now with all this stuff. I didn't know what is my way or the right way for me. So yeah, it really helped me to become clarity on a lot of things, and to have the clarity of how do I build a system that is working.
Eh,
And yes, and I think the most important thing is to really believe in this and in itself, and to have the confidence to keep going, even if you get, for example, no's. Of course, as an entrepreneur, we still become some no's. Every client is not saying, yes, I will work with you. But of course, with the time, it even gets more and more, because you can develop your concept, you know what people want and what really works. You learn to sell, of course. But at the beginning, you get a lot of no's. So you have to deal with that and to become clear with rejection. And it was not so easy for me. But yeah, I had the chance to have my husband who was supporting me, and I had the chance don't have the time pressure, like, oh, it has to work in the next 6 months, otherwise I have to find another job. So that was, of course, a comfortable situation for
Okay.
me.
Yeah, I love what you mentioned about, you know, you learn so many things. You increase your knowledge about maybe marketing, digital
Yeah.
media, all those things, all those strategies. And then at some point you were like, okay, I have too much on my plate. Which one is my way? And finding our own way is like, yeah, sometimes we need support from someone else, like you call a coach for that. But I think it's the very interesting point where a lot of people are missing out. It's like all the way there are multitude of ways of doing business
Yes.
and finding your client. You really need to kind of decide which one is sustainable and suitable for
Mhm.
yourself. So I really appreciate what you say about finding my way. And it was a moment where, okay, I need to find my way of doing.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned something else about having this strong belief that is your path. And
Mhm.
I guess this kept you going and going and going. So would you say you have a strong why you do that?
That's what I wanted to say. Yeah, I think it's I don't know how do you see that, but I think it's the condition to have success with business, like with entrepreneur. You have to have a strong why, because otherwise, when you have too much difficulties, you will let it. You will move to something else. So yes, I really have a deep why. Like, I really believe in the fact, like I said before, that every child deserves strong skills, deserves to grow up with a strong language skills, and be happy in a happy, harmonic environment. So yes, that is my strong why, and I have a lot of ideas for the future, what I want to to
Yeah.
to create, to build. So it's that is a difficulty to focus, and that's why I wanted to work with you too, and why I'm part of the mastermind is for me it's difficult sometimes to focus, to know, okay, on which thing do I have to focus now. But it got better with time now, but at the beginning it was really my one of the most difficulties I had, because so much ideas, so a long list of things I wanted to do, but okay, which one do I begin now? And I know how important it is to focus on one thing until it works, and then you can move to the next one. But don't plan to make 3, 4, 5 things at the same time. It doesn't work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because focus is everything, and it's true. Like, and I've been in those creative mode at some moments, and it's like, okay, I want to do that. I want to write a book. I want to launch a podcast. I want
Yes.
and then you can't do all in once. If you
Mm.
focus even just 3 months on one thing, you will get way closer to make it happen, and then go to the other one and keep this idea growing and planting seeds along the way, because then maybe a
Mhm.
year later you realize, oh, this I wanted to do it 1 year earlier and now it's done. So things
Yeah.
happen, and boosting and developing ideas and creativity is great. Keeping this alive is so important. But then when
Mhm.
it comes to, let's say, focus work, okay, what is the objective? What is the target, and where I'm focused on now, because I know it's going to help me for the next. And sometimes it's okay, what is generating money now, because money can be on the way as
Yeah.
well. Okay, now I have more money, I can reinvest on something. So
Mm.
um and how did you deal with the no's, the rejection. How was your journey into that? Because you're probably not the only one. And do you have some tips to give us? And how was the journey with that for you?
Yeah, good question. There are different dimensions, I think. The first one is to have this strong belief, this is what I want and I will get it. The second thing is to not go in, oh, it doesn't work, but to go and analyze. Like one of the most important thing I learned making an online business is there are no mistakes. There are only opportunities to learn and to grow. So every no is not a mistake, is an opportunity to learn. So what did I learn in this case? Like what did I do wrong or what is the problem? So go in contact with the clients, potential clients, and ask what they want, what they need. And so not trying to create something from the head, but going in research, in contact with the potential clients. So and of course, the third dimension is keep learning, like learning how to sell, learning how to be confident, learning, like how to establish the contact with a client in a conversation, some things like that. So these three dimensions, I think, are really essential to deal with
Yeah,
now.
and sometimes it's not, it's not about you as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's like you can develop everything and then this client will still no. So it's also that, and most of the time don't get too personal in those
Yeah.
no, because it's like you never know what's really happening in that person's life, and it's like this no is maybe just not the right fit for you, and or it
Yeah.
will be so annoying and it will be the worst client. So no's can be actually a good thing. So it can be a gift.
Yes. Yes, of course. And of course, I mean, like some people are ready to pay some amount and other people are not. So but to get in the analyze is, okay, do I reach the right people? For example, if I want to have this price, I am reaching the right people with my content, marketing content, or maybe I'm not. So I go in the analyze. And if I want to keep this price I have in mind, how can I get the right people who are ready to pay this amount, for example, or the messaging is a really important part of the thing, I think. Like, you always have to show the transformation and not the product itself. So I think that's a very important point.
It's a lot about the message, and sometimes not even what you are selling, the program or the price is really the message, and this is the hardest, I would say, part online and on outside. Is like, okay, you need to find the right words that people want to
Yes.
buy at that moment, and it's delivering what they want, and no, it's like selling what they want and delivering what they need. And this is the tricky part when you start doing marketing or sales, and it's a very, I think it's a journey of learning, of self-discovery. And how has been for you as a person your, I would say, self-discovery journey into this entrepreneur side, and also maybe as a mom?
What do you mean exactly with
Like
like?
how was for you the journey, your identity maybe, and all those shifts may have happened during that
Yeah.
whole growth period to become
Yes.
what you are today?
It was a very, what I think what's interesting, it's a very conscious journey of, okay, that's what I thought in the past, but now I can see it in a different way. Like, changing your mindset. And I think for me, it's one of the most, important, I don't know the right word, but significant things when you are becoming an entrepreneur is you are growing your mindset, and it's a conscious work. It's like oh, in the past I thought money is something bad, for example, or I don't deserve to earn a lot of money, for example. That are my typical mindset shifts. And then to think, okay, I deserve it. Money, it's not something bad. It's something, when I have money, I can help myself and help other people, like, to shift, to have this shift. So for me, it's a very significant part of the journey, this mindset. And of course, becoming a mother is changing perspective on life too. I mean, some people say in the past I had principle, now I am a mother. Yeah, it's like when you are living it, you are automatically changing your perspective on some things. You had perspective before, and then you are in the situation and think, okay, now I have to handle it in another way because my child is my child. And yeah, and I really love the fact that we have three cultures because we have three perspectives on everything. And of course, at the beginning, it was quite challenging, I would say, in the first year after the birth of my first child, because when you're speaking with your parents, you get some perspective on something. You are speaking with the parents of your husband, and they have other perspectives. And you are speaking with friends here, living here in Germany, and they have another perspective. And then you think, okay, which one is the right one for me now? And what I learned is you have to trust your intuition. Your heart is telling you what you have to do. So just listen to the different perspectives and take the one is right for you and for your family, because at the end it's only about that. What is good for you and your family. And yeah, in the first year, it was really challenging because you have really different perspectives on some things, like when does the child have to begin to go to the kindergarten or to school? When does a child sleep alone? Has it to sleep alone or maybe not? Like am I breastfeeding or not? So like, some things like that. So it was a constant yeah, over constant dealing with different perspectives, and it was quite difficult to find a way, but we found it. And for the second child, it was so much easier then because a lot of things were clear from beginning.
Yeah, and you had more experience. I guess it's where the quote about, before you have principle and after you become a mom, but it's like because then you have the experience, so you
your experience and for your feelings.
Yeah.
I think parents today often forget their feeling. They want to do the right thing, so they get informations from the internet, from this, from that, but they forget their own feeling. And I think at the end, of course, it's important to get informed, to know how is working child development and some things like that, of course. But at the end, your feeling will tell you how you have to handle with your child, not the people around you, or not the, you know the right way. So it's a very thing we have to learn again, to trust our intuition.
Okay. And have you been someone who all your life have trust your intuition, or is something you have been developing?
It's a good question, actually, because now I am consciously working on that, like listening more to my intuition for business, because sometimes, for example, it's difficult for me to take decisions. So in these situations, I think, okay, I have to follow my intuitions, and that's not easy for me. But when I reflect my whole life, actually, I followed my intuition all the time. Like it began with, as I was at school, at primary school, German teacher came into the room, and for the year before you go to college in France, like you are 10-year-old, you have to decide then which language you will learn first. And a German teacher came to us in the room and to make the language, like to discover the language. And I loved that. And I get home and said, my parents, I want to learn German. It was clear. And my parents, are you sure your brother learned German too? And it didn't work well. And it was very difficult for him. And, they had this impression of German is a difficult language. And are you sure? I'm sure. Okay, if you're sure. So I started learning German. And then with 16, I really, really wanted to go to Germany for 3 months. I did it. And then I really, really wanted to study German, and everyone, not everyone, my parents were always supporting me, but a lot of people were saying, what would you do with that? You can only become a teacher. If you study German, you can only become a teacher. And I thought, okay, I don't think I want to become a teacher, but I want to study German. So, and I think it followed when I reflect on my own life, actually, I listened to my intuition. So
Yeah.
I love this question.
Thank you. And I think it's where the highs and the hub of life, where
Yeah.
things happen. It's like from a deep yes from inside. And it's where,
Yeah.
And I don't know, but in general, we have a tendency to kind of forget that we know the answers. We have a strong intuition. We have an inner guidance system, a gut feeling. And then we, as you mentioned, like we are so used now to seek for the information outside on Google, on new course, on people, like blah blah blah. And then if we take the time and space to kind of check with ourselves, what do I think about that? What do I want? What do I want is really, it's like, yes, like even your body is telling you. It's like,
Yeah.
I want to go to Germany for 3 months, and you make it happen. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, but sometimes it's scary, right? It's scary to
it's
just
scary,
listen to the intuition. Yeah.
of course, because then the brain is trying to rationalize the thing. And
Yeah.
I remember, for example, when COVID happened, I was in Bali, and I don't know, I had this strong, strong thing that I have to go to Australia. Like, and in 24 hours, make the decision. I was like, I bought a flight ticket and I fly. And like it went so fast that I didn't really have time to rationalize it because it was making no sense. Like, obviously, like, why you you do that? But then I arrived in Australia and they closed the border 3 days later. So I had no time to make a perfect SWOT analysis of, is it the right move for me to go to Australia? I was just having a strong
Crazy.
feeling that I should be moving outside of Bali right now. And a friend called me at the same time, and I had a pseudo boyfriend there, and I was like, I should go. And it's those things I never done in my life, it's like, but I just, something stronger from inside, like a gut feeling was telling me, Lucy, you need to book that ticket and do it. So there are things that most of the time we don't listen to intuition because we try to make sense of that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then the best, I guess, and you are here to confirm that as well, is just, let's do it. Let's take the risk. Let's make those things happening, because in a worst case scenario, what will happen? Maybe we lose a little bit of money or a little bit of time, but we can always kind of figure things out.
Yeah.
So you talk about a lot about having, you have a family and you live, well, not too far, but still you live in another country from your parents. How did you feel with maybe, having children and being not closer to your parents? Did you feel any loneliness as living abroad? How was your experience?
Yeah, sometimes. And I think it's really something we all have to deal with when we are children abroad. Of course, because you have your own past too. And for example, my grandparents were very present in my life as I was a child, like not every week, but every month. And I had a lot of memories with my grandparents. And I really have a strong connection to these past Sundays, family Sundays, where we were all together with my cousins and so on. It was something very special and very nice from my childhood. And of course, it's quite often on Sundays, I am consciously thinking about that and think, I cannot give it to my children, this really, special family Sunday thing. And of course, every time the children are sick, we are thinking, or because my husband, my mother-in-law is living in Germany, but not near from us. She's 4 hours ago, so we don't see her very often too. So we don't have family here. We have good friends who support us, of course, sometimes, but we don't have family here. So every time the children are sick, we are just like, yeah, we have to deal with that. We cannot say, okay, the grandmother is coming today and I'm working. So we have to discuss together and, okay, who is caring of the child today? And so that is something very hard sometimes. I mean, of course, in winter, it's, yeah. But on the other side, yeah, so of course I missed this possibility to just call my mother and say, hey, are you coming for a coffee? Like, yeah, it's really something I miss. But on the other side, I notice how special are the moments when we are together, because when we see one another, it's for 1 week, 2 weeks, and we really leave special things. We do special things together. They are here from morning to the evening, so we really have other situations, other moments. And what I can say is the children are very strong bonded to their grandparents. So despite of the distance, but of course it's something we all want. My parents are really want really strong to have a strong connection to their grandchildren. So it's a condition, of course, for it to work. But yeah, I think it's like everything. You have positive and negative aspects in both things. Yeah.
And have you ever thought to launch your own Sunday tradition?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, on Sundays, most of the times we do something together, like we go in the nature or do something like that. But it's not the same. It's like, yeah, we are together as a family, but just 4 of us, and don't have, yeah, we are creating something. We have very good friends here, so we are seeing quite often them on Sundays. So it's a little bit like something, but it's not the same. But maybe it can become with time. Maybe it can become something like the past.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a new, it won't be the past, but it can become something for your family, you know, that,
Yeah.
okay, like me, I have one tradition which I love is on Sunday night, I do pizza. Or I eat pizza. And I can do it anywhere, but you know, it's kind of feeling this kind of like a weekly celebration of life somehow. And
Yeah.
I did it with my family back in France 2 times, and it was so nice because then I invited my cousin and her kids, and like it was just a nice moment to, hey, I'm creating a new tradition for the whole family, you know. It's like I
Yeah.
don't let you any choice. It's my new tradition. Do it with me or not, but I would love you to join. And sometimes I just do it with friends and stuff, but it's like we have this unique opportunity to actually create memories, create tradition on our new way of living. It can be, yeah, inviting once a month or special friends that you consider like family, because you probably
Yes. Yes.
have those people abroad. Is for me, like I have really good friends. It's like family for me. Like you ask me, they are part of my family, you know.
Yeah.
So we create new traditions like on our own term.
And it's a very good point you're saying, Lucy, because in the multilingual education, the multilingual environment, creating traditions is very important. Like it's important to give traditions you had before because it's a connection to your own past identity. But it's important as a family to create new traditions because it gives the sense of the language to the children. So that's why I was speaking about rituals at the beginning, and rituals and traditions, actually, I mean. So you create new traditions, and in these situations, the speaking of the language is something natural for the child then. Like, for example, every time I love to cook, how to say, to make some, yeah, let's say cook with my child, like making pastry. We
Bake,
love it to
yeah, to bake.
bake. Yes, bake. It's like in German. So, okay. So my child and I, we love that, and we are doing it all the like since he's, don't know, 2 years old. And every time we bake, he's speaking French to me. like an automatically. So it's a tradition. It becomes a tradition for us. It's just an example, but it's important for the children to associate some traditions with specific language to make the language have a specific sense. So yeah, thank you for thinking about that, because it's a very important dimension too.
Yeah. Can we speak a little bit about love? How is it, how did you meet your husband, and how is it to have a bilingual as well, multilingual relationship?
Oh yeah, it's an interesting question because yeah, I mean, we didn't really have the language barrier, because as I met him, I was make an Erasmus year in Germany. And I already spoke quite good German, so we didn't have this problem with we can really understand ourselves, or we have to speak in English or something like that. So it was not never have been a problem for us. But of course, sometimes I notice, even today, like after so much years, sometimes I get a wrong understanding in something, like nuance, like a meaning. Like I know the word, but he means something specific, or I interpret something, it's not what he was saying. You know what I mean? And this is something only happens, I think, when we have not the same mother tongue at the beginning. Like, so I am still learning today after so much years, sometimes new meanings in German, or new words too, of course. So, but I love that. I think it's very very interesting, because it's a part of learning too. So we met as students. He was studying too, and we met them there, and it was in Paderborn. I think you don't know the city, but yes, maybe, because it's a partner city of Le Mans, the city I grew up. So that's why I went there. And after 1 year there, actually I should have returned back to France, but I wanted to stay there for him, and not only for him. I was really enjoying the time there. So I spoke with my main professor at the university and asked if I can continue my study there, so to get courses there, but get recognition in France, so I can, have continue my study in the university. And she said yes. So she said, okay, you can make 1 year more, but then you come back and finish your master here, please. So I said, okay. So I stayed 2 years then, and at the end of the second year, we decided, my husband just finished his study, and he decided to come with me to France for 1 year. But for us, it was clear it's just for 1 year, and then we go back to Germany. And so he came with me to France, and he learned a lot of French too. So I think is really important for us in our now life with the children, because he understands a lot, he can speak quite well. So yeah, it was part of the journey too.
Yeah, it's amazing. You kind of knew you want to live in Germany. Today, you don't see yourself going back to France, even with the whole
No,
family? No, okay. This
no,
is the place.
no. I just know my husband something say, should we stay in Germany for our whole life, or maybe we could move somewhere where, I don't know. I'm quite open for everything, but now if you ask me, I want to stay here. I'm happy here. So
I
yeah.
think it's the most important. And
Yeah.
to those who are listening today that would love to create a life they really love, do you have an advice for them? Like something to help them going to create their life?
There are so much things, right? So much things, but the most important things, I think, I already spoke about. It's follow your intuition, believe in yourself, so keep going, of course, and don't see mistakes as mistakes, but as opportunities to grow and to learn. That are the three conditions, I think. Or how do you see that?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I would say, yeah, heck yes to that. The resilience, the courage, the determination, and yeah, listening to your intuition. I think it's a big one because others will try to protect you when they try to stop you. Actually, it's a way of loving you.
Yes.
But there is much more. Yeah, much more for you to have when you trust, you know, and you just go for it.
Yeah, and that means sometimes to take a risk. That's a good point too. Like people are loving you with try to want you to be secure. It's normal. It's totally human. Like they want you to be secure, but sometimes to reach your dreams, you have to take risks. And that's like, for example, as I started at the beginning, I was working, so I tried to begin to start the business nearby, and I had a little child, and I noticed, well, it's hard, and I think I won't do that. So, and of course, for example, my father always wanted me to be independent as a woman, and I can really, really understand that. Like he wants me to be free and to be secure, free as a woman, and because you don't never know what happens. But for me, it was clear I have to take the risk to maybe be dependent of my husband for quite time, to only focus on my business, to be free after. So I went this way. So we decided together with my husband, okay, we are a team, and I support you financially to get your business started, so you can stop. So my research, one of the research project was at the end, and I decided not to search for another one, but to only focus on my business. And if I would follow the advice of my father, of course, I wouldn't have to do that, because it meant I have to be dependent for a while. Yeah.
And it's what you mentioned also a bit earlier. You did a big job on yourself to shift a lot of money mindset and relationship to money, and to be today being able to, no, actually, I can be dependent temporarily of my husband because I'm seeing the support and further. So it's really redefining those concepts of feeling secure. And sometimes the security is coming from your loving partner, especially when we are abroad where we don't have security as we have in our own country. So we are we are defining a new safety net that can evolve over the time. So it's not a weakness neither to be dependent sometimes. I love what you bring, because more your strong why is going there, more actually you kind of, okay, now I need to be dependent temporarily. And then it's okay because it's a way to go there, but I'm feeling secure in my family, in my couple, in my partnership. So I really thank you for sharing all of those greatness today, because yeah, it gives so much insight about multilingual family and resilience in business. Uh, as we finish, there is a rapid five. It's 5 questions, very short. You answer in 5 words or one sentence max. And the first one is, one thing you would love for your life.
Financial security,
Yes.
because I have all the West, and it's really to have this feeling of security. Yeah.
Okay. One thing you would love for the world.
It's really naive, but peace. And I think it's a little bit the why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like create citizen of the world is creating a better society, a better so peace.
I love it. Just love it. Yeah, we will do another episode just on that.
Yeah, with pleasure.
The worst advice you have ever received.
I think that's what I said before. Like you have really to you take no risk. Take no risk. It was from coming from love, of course, but yeah, it was not the advice I needed at the moment.
Yeah. And the best advice you have received?
You can reach whatever you want. You can learn whatever you need to learn and whatever you want to learn. So actually everything is possible because you can learn.
I love it. And the last one, if you had a magic wand, what would you transform?
Wow, that's a difficult question. You mean in my whole life, in my own life, or
Whatever. You choose.
If I can transform something, yeah, that's difficult. Because, it's like I said before, for the word, if I can just and we have peace and freedom everywhere, I mean, it would be awesome. I know, maybe the power to always have a positive perspective on things. I am really working on that now. The power of
Shifting.
Transforming negative thoughts in positive thoughts, but because I think it's without that you cannot keep going, and you cannot keep growing. So I would love that, to have this ability to be in every situation, in every moment, to be positive.
Yeah, shifting perspective. I love that.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Adeline. And
You're welcome. Thank you.
I will share your contact with everyone below in the description to connect with Adeline if you have any question about anything she talked about today. If you need support with a multilingual kids and family, don't hesitate to reach out to her. She's amazing. And
thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. And I just want to add, my website and everything is in German, but please don't hesitate, contact me. I also make coachings in English, and yeah,
French.
so don't hesitate.
And French, right?
Yeah, French, of course, too. Yes. Yes.
So all language available. Thank you so much for listening
Thank you.
today, and we see you again in Between Home podcast very soon.